Hi, it's Steph Wagner, bariatric dietitian on foodcoach.me. When you hear carbs, do you think of the word evil? Because most low-carb dieters and weight loss surgery patients have learned that lots of carbs in the diet stall out their weight loss, especially the further out from surgery that you get. What about foods that are allowed but still contain a good amount of carbs? Even a bariatric diet is not a no-carb diet. Rather, it's a low-carb diet with a big emphasis on protein. Carbohydrates are a major nutrient for the body, along with protein and fat. No one is meant to eat zero carbs. It's important for your brain. It's just important that we get it in the right places. The right places for carbs would be foods like vegetables, beans, fruits, protein bars, some protein shakes, and some items like condiments will even have some. But how do you balance the good carbs without getting too many carbs? Herein lies the question. As a recap, my recommendation for post-op patients is to eat 3 meals a day, 70% protein, 30% vegetables. I recommend having fruit once a day as part of a meal paired with the protein. And I recommend only 2 healthy servings of fat a day in your meals if you need them. And I always recommend steering clear of starches and sweets. So, when it comes to good sources of carbs, there are some things to look out for. The biggest disclaimer being balance. Protein bars, beans, and fruit, for example, contain a good amount of carbs. To keep the overall carb intake down for the day, I would have only one of those 3 items in one day. If I had a protein bar for breakfast, I would skip fruit later in the day. If I was making chili with beans at dinner, I wouldn't have a protein bar or a fruit that day. Of course, the big question you're probably thinking right now is, how many carbs should I be shooting for? And I don't have an answer in grams of carbs, but I do have an answer in terms of the ratio of carbs. My suggestion is to keep a food journal on your phone. In particular, I love MyFitnessPal. Other apps do this, but I'm most familiar with this one. MyFitnessPal will take your foods for the day and put the protein, carbs, and fat into a pie chart. You want 50% of the pie chart to be protein, while you want to keep carbs at 20% and fat is okay at 30%. Not every day will look perfect, but looking at this chart will help you learn from each day. If you feel you did really well, but your carbs were at 40%, maybe you did have an extra protein bar or fruit that day. Within the MyFitnessPal app, you can get to the pie chart by scrolling to the bottom of your food diary and clicking on Nutrition. Then click the tab on the top for Macros, which stands for macronutrients. And that will show you the protein, carbs, and fat in the pie chart. It's best to look at the end of the day because your chart might look funny right after breakfast compared to a full day in its entirety. Remember to keep those carbs balanced. Always keep protein at the center stage of your food choices. And don't forget to make better food choices for a better life. Thanks for watching.